Welcome back to Green Disruptors. In today's episode, we're diving into the future of energy storage with Tom Chepucavage, co-founder and CEO of Flow Aluminum, a startup pioneering aluminum-based batteries that are not only safer and longer lasting than lithium, but also carbon negative. From powering military microgrids in the Arctic to backing data centers in the desert, Tom shares how this revolutionary tech is shifting the battery industry for good.
Hi,
All right, listeners. Oh, sorry, you go.
I'm sorry.
No, you go.
I was like, dude, get down to one of me. Sorry.
No, organic sounding natural conversation is better anyway. So, hi, Tom. Thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Tom Chepucavage. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Flow Aluminum. We are an aluminum battery company out of the University of New Mexico.
Very nice. So, what's your kind of professional and personal journey that has led you to this founding this company?
Absolutely. So as far back as high school, I participated in a program called the Governor's School on the Environment, which we spent a summer doing environmental research and climate tech research. And
Oh,
you know,
cool.
I pursued finance in college, but I always wanted to come back to climate tech. So
So, how long did it take you to come back?
yeah, so I started my career in management consulting with Accenture and did a variety of things. I ended up working on the battery supply chain and for a utility, which kind of got me closer.
Yeah,
And about 2 years ago, I got involved with this. So
very cool. So, give us the details about what flow is and why it's different. There's a lot to do with recycled aluminum, right?
yes, yes. So we have an aluminum-based battery. Aluminum is very abundant, second most abundant metal on Earth's crust, and it recycles very cleanly. Unlike lithium. So this is
Yeah.
where we really provide a value, and we're not flammable, and lithium batteries are flammable. We perform really well at extreme temperatures, 100% depth of discharge, and in a flow battery format, we can actually capture carbon, so be a carbon negative product.
Wow. So why weren't people already doing this?
So the aluminum battery research, aluminum batteries were not recyclable until Dr. Way and Dr. Fetro did the research with this chemistry, which has what's called a low overpotential, which means the amount of energy that comes back out of the battery that is very similar to what is put in. So it's very efficient. And it recharges very well.
So do you think this kind of battery will eventually totally replace lithium, or is it kind of a side by side growth? I mean, obviously we can't stop all the lithium we're already using, but
I believe it has the potential to. It's going to take probably at least 5 years of R&D to catch up on energy density. We will be in the market in about a year with stationary energy storage batteries for mitigating the intermittency of wind and solar. But we wouldn't be able to do like electric vehicle until further R&D down the road. But at that point, I think it has more benefits than lithium batteries. So.
very cool. I was not even aware this technology existed at all. So that's fascinating. So tell me a little bit more too about the CO2 intake part of it, if
Yeah,
you can.
so it's what's called a plating and stripping battery. It's oxidizing the surface of aluminum. So with the aluminum, with the flow battery that actually captures carbon, it can actually breathe ambient CO2. It could do that, or you could pipe in industrial CO2 from processes like hydrogen generation, things like that. But with that, it actually on the discharge creates an oxalate on the discharge of the battery. It plates and strips the aluminum, oxidizing it and creating an oxalate, and you end up with pure CO2, 100% pure CO2. And then on recharge, it actually releases a pure CO2 where we can capture it into tanks, and then we can actually repurpose the carbon to build cylinders that we can put batteries in it. Or we could make cement or other carbon products, or just sequester it. So.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So what is going on with Flow? Like what is your maybe main product right now, and like how is this technology being used now compared to, maybe in the future EVs after more research and development, like you said?
Yeah, so right now we are working towards a pilot. We're underway with planning with New Mexico State University for a microgrid. So it'll be like a 1 megawatt install on the campus of New Mexico State University, backing up power there. We'll be addressing intermittency with solar in that microgrid, and that'll prove it out. And we actually had a conversation today. They're building a $5 billion data center microgrid complex near Las Cruces that we hope to do a pilot with them, proving out from NMSU. So, and then with the military, there's a lot of microgrid interest, and we did some work over in Norway in January, and they're inviting us to build a microgrid in Germany. So that's kind of the stepwise towards the like 200, 600 megawatt utility scale grid battery farms.
So, and the battery portion of it is like the storage. So you could be in a wind farm or a solar, you know, am I correct in my understanding?
Yeah, definitely addressing that, the intermittency when the wind stops, when the sun goes away, the
Hmm.
overnight periods, and that's the same for other sources.
Right.
Geothermal, we can work with them, and so, and it applies with like fossil fuel generation too, when there's, peak shaving and other things that need to happen. So.
Okay. So would you, I mean, yeah, I'm still trying to totally wrap my brain around it, but does it have the potential to be like you said it's going to be, negative carbon output? Is the battery itself like, does it last longer? Is it just more efficient overall?
It is more efficient. It's a long duration battery. It can power for 10 hours, and then on cycles like over 10,000 cycles we think we can achieve in lifetime, which is like 15 years plus. So it's a very durable battery.
Do you know what the stats are for like the lithium battery in my computer or something, or even just comparing it to other backup batteries for like, do those have a shorter lifespan or?
Yeah, yeah, lithium on the grid, those are about 7 to 12 year batteries, and we'd be 10 to 20 year. And yeah, they've got, with consumer electronics, they degrade. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
And is that less the case with aluminum ones?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
just
we can get well over 10,000 cycles, meaning we can discharge and charge it 10,000 times. I think
crazy.
lithiums are probably between five, like somewhere around 5,000, I believe. I could be, but they're definitely less durable.
Okay. Wow. So how is Flow like finding these new projects and finding these companies to work with to start replacing maybe current lithium batteries or build new projects that aren't installed yet? How are you finding people?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they're coming to us from programs like this. We've done newspaper interviews, things like that.
Nice.
But we are on the road all the time at conferences. I was at the
Mm.
MIT Energy Conference in Boston the first week of this month, and I was pitching at University of Colorado Boulder for the Destination Startup 2 weeks ago. Then I was at the ARPA-E conference in DC this past week, and I'm heading to Denver tomorrow for the NREL Industry Growth Forum. So we network there, and with the military, we've got some great military veterans on staff that are doing business development.
Mm.
With the Special Forces community, we have a gentleman named Miguel Gieske, who's our VP of Government and Military Strategy, who's networked us in with like the Special Forces, like the Green Berets, SEALs, Rangers,
Wow.
Delta,
Yeah.
and so we microgrids, and then we'll be doing other things with them. So.
So do you have, I mean, obviously this kind of a thing is could be widely utilized by almost anybody, but is there like a certain type of business that you would love to go after?
We are really chasing data centers because
Mm,
it's top of the news how much energy artificial
absolutely.
intelligence LLMs are taking. So that's that $5 billion data center project in New Mexico. We really hope to get
Hmm.
in there. We have had conversations with Google and Microsoft. And there's a smaller data center in New Mexico that we're working on a letter of intent with. So there's a lot of growth there. That's one in particular. And then the military is with our cold weather performance, there's a lot of Arctic action as the ice caps melt. There's
Yeah.
geopolitical things that are going to happen, land that's going to be chased and tried to be claimed, and oil to be drilled, and there's going to be a lot of tension and conflict, and we can provide microgrid support there. So.
Hmm. So, okay, so back to the data center thing. Is there, like, I have no concept of how many of these things exist. Like in a big city like New York or something, like how many of these things are there?
Yeah, so
You may not know, but
they are pushing them further out into rural. New Mexico has one for Meta. A lot of the Rocky Mountain areas have them. Fewer in the urban areas, and to less a degree. And obviously, wherever the real estate is less expensive, they're chasing
so
that.
it wouldn't really correlate with, like a city size because you can shoot it anywhere. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay, that makes more
yeah.
sense.
We have city applications too, though, and there's yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about um, like the ethical sourcing issue with like lithium versus aluminum?
Yeah, well, the big one is most lithium batteries have cobalt, and there's very few cobalt mines in the world, and the big ones are in Africa, and there's a
Mm,
huge child labor problem. I
right.
think I read one number, there's about 40,000 kids between 10 and 16 years old working in those cobalt,
Cobalt mines,
they're
yeah.
open pits, a lot of them, and definitely deaths pretty frequently, and
Well,
it's
not
a
a great
very,
job for an adult, and especially
yeah,
not a child, yeah.
right. So, yeah, yeah.
So compared to aluminum, you don't need the cobalt, I'm assuming.
No cobalt. The only metal we use is aluminum, and it's very abundant and a lot of recycling there. So yeah,
Uh, okay. Very cool. Well, I mean, it seems like, yeah, it seems like an obvious business plan. So it's like, do you see any resistance to people changing? Because we've kind of been on this lithium path for a while now.
yeah. I mean, we've seen resistance even with the Department of Energy. They really, they were really just focused on competing with China on the lithium
Yeah.
on the battery supply chain and on lithium. So a lot of that Inflation Reduction Act money went to established and scaling lithium battery companies.
Yeah.
And Ford was given $9 billion to scale up lithium battery production. So there is that, and then there's just people have never heard of aluminum batteries, so they don't know. They think it's risky, this and that, and we've made a lot of progress. So that's going to be an uphill battle. We probably are going to end up. We are already working with a lobbyist in D.C. Like really just need to engage the public and educate them.
Right. Because like you can't buy something you don't know about or believe in. So there is that gap, which I imagine the older the business gets, like the more the word will go out, and it'll kind of be a steep incline once people start adapting it. But that's you're probably at the pushing the cart up the hill phase of it right now.
Yeah, yeah, very much so, and especially with the yeah, definitely with the industries, the EV industry and grid. So, but there's a lot of companies kind of paving the way ahead of us. Form Energy is an iron flow battery. They've raised $1 billion, and they're doing a big grid install in the Northeast. So, these lithium alternatives are kind of some of them are starting to get to market and kind of breaking down some of the resistance to post lithium batteries.
How hard was it for you guys to get the funding you needed to get off the ground?
We actually had I think we pitched some of the right crowds. We got some pretty fast early funding. What something I we I a lesson learned really and is that in deep tech batteries things like that, the government grants really you should prioritize them up front over
Mm,
dilutive like angel and other investment
right.
because when you're in heavy R&D phase, you don't want to be burning investor money. So that's a big lesson learned for us.
The
But
government's not as antsy about it as an investor
right,
would be.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you mentioned early in the beginning that your early career had a lot of mentoring in it. Do you ever do any of that in your current role?
Yeah, it's where so the National Science Foundation has something called the I-Corps program where they give uh, $3,000 stipends to college students that work with professors with patents to commercialize, and that money is supposed to be used for going to conferences and doing product market fit research, interviewing potential customers. So I did 5 years. I'm actually still doing it. I'm in a current cohort, and in 2 hours they're doing their final presentations. But with the University of New Mexico, so we do two cohorts a year, and they're 10 weeks each. And I usually mentor about two teams in there. So I'm still active with that. And then I do some mentoring just generally in the New Mexico ecosystem. So.
Very cool. Do you
Mhm.
have any like blanket advice for young like tech entrepreneurs?
Well, grants first is a big one,
Yeah.
and then when working with academic with university IP, when forming your team, like really set very clear expectations. If you're working with like a college professor, they've obviously got a career. They may not be sure if they want to leave to build a company. So really kind of work through like what the time commitment, what you expect, especially if you're giving equity to a college professor, like really nail down what time commitment do you want? Because ideas are one thing, patents are another, but the real building it out and getting it to scale and manufacturing hard tech is a level of effort above just ideating on these things. And then your team is really critical early on. People with industry experience, but also people that have a startup mindset, like can think outside the box and do a lot with a little. Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people, like especially from the national labs, are used to this billion-dollar infrastructure of equipment
Mm,
surrounding them and all the time and money in the world to do it. But a startup is lean and mean. You don't have $1 billion. You might have $50,000 worth of equipment around you and no time and investors breathing down your neck. So yeah. Anyway, those are the big
yeah.
learnings I've seen in the last 2 years. So
Well, it is. It's like it's a very challenging industry because you've got like it's the whole thing is time sensitive. Like we need to solve all these, science related climate change problems as fast as we can. People are anxious, but also people want to make their money back. But then you've got regulations in place and like it's a lot.
yeah, yeah, the regulations are really especially around like siting with geothermal and solar and plants like that. We had in New Mexico we had a transmission line that took 17 years to permit and put in, and we're never going to save civilization with 17-year turnarounds on
That's
transmission
insane.
lines. Yeah, yeah.
Like go ahead
It
and
is.
raise a kid while we wait.
It's really insane. It's bad. So, yeah.
Do you see like any hope for change in that? Because I mean that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think, as the economics change, like you look like at a state of Texas who's now raced ahead of everyone on like
Yeah.
like battery and wind deployment. So that's kind of like, without going deep on that, an example of where as the economics shift, things will get faster, I think. So,
Well, that's what I was talking to somebody earlier today about. It's like it's got to be more pragmatic and not necessarily values based, or obviously definitely not political based. It's like it's just got to be a pragmatic, better way to do business and better for your bottom line, and then it's easy to adopt, and people are maybe in more of a hurry to get something implemented. But if it's gonna cost them more time and money, they're like, I don't see the
yeah,
point.
our use of their land. That's
Right.
a lot of the private land, especially across the West. People, balk about putting windmills on it or running lines across it or things like that. So that's, yeah.
Oh, that's tricky. Okay. Well, if you had like what's your elevator pitch for Flow?
Yeah, so the elevator pitch is we've got a safer, more sustainable, and cost-efficient alternative to lithium batteries, and we also capture carbon. Two birds with one stone.
So if you're a smart business person, this is an obvious solution here. So
Yeah.
very cool. Was there anything else you wanted to cover? Any projects you're particular? You told me you mentioned the data center in New Mexico. Is there anything else you wanted to highlight before we wrap it up?
Well, we just brought on a new CTO who helped scale Tesla in Europe, worked at Rivian, and just built a battery fab center in South Korea. Gunjan Agarwal, we're very excited to have her on board. She's got a PhD from MIT, super smart. I think she's going to turbocharge our progress.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that it's a she too.
Yeah, yeah. In STEM, it's rare. I mean, we had over 700 resumes for our CTO role, and she may be one of a very small percentage in that stack, and she was far superior, clearly.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I've been searching high and low to get females to feature on and still looking.
Well, you can bring her on whenever you want.
Yeah, she should come talk to me.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. This is really exciting to learn. I learn new things every day that I'm surprised I didn't know. So, and I'm like involved in the space now. So I imagine there's a lot of work to be done about informing the public. So, but
Yeah.
exciting work. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, thanks again for your time today. It's been fun talking to you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Green Disruptors. If Tom's story inspired you or made you rethink what's possible beyond lithium, don't forget to follow, share, and leave us a review. You can learn more about Flow Aluminum and their game-changing batteries at flowaluminum.net.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep disrupting green.